do 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 do. This isn't a commercial, but it seems like one. Now that I'm back from Florida, I've got a bunch of alligator. Isn't this nice? This one's olive drab green. And wouldn't it make awesome belt or even wallets? The scales are pretty big for wallets, so you can do that on the side. But I think there has to be like some manly man out there. It's like, belt, olive drab green, and alligator. Double win. So if you're interested, send me an email. My email's in the description of every video. By the way, these are the tags from the government proving that it's all 100% legal. So anyway, if you want me to edit that out of the video, I'll think about it after the fact, a year from today. Something, and I know you weren't taught this in school, unless you went to a private school. I don't even think private schools teach this. And listen, I don't pretend to be anybody's financial advisor. I'm certainly not. I've never even had a real vacation. I just got done paying a lot of taxes, and it basically wiped me out. And I went to Florida because my home insurance company went bankrupt, and I needed to have the home re-inspected for it to be reinsured. Getting a home insured in Florida, by the way, is an act of God. So I don't pretend to be anything that I'm not. Most of you that have watched my videos know exactly who I am. But there are important things, and as the old saying goes, better late than never. I'm self-taught on like 99% of the things that I know. I spent many years in college. It was a total waste. The only thing that was not a waste is all the endless, countless thousands of hours I actually spent in the library. And I have a nearly magical skill of being able to weed out bad books from good ones. And some people, they'll like get halfway or all the way through a book, and they're like, oh, it's not a good book. It's like you had to read like half of the whole thing to figure that out. It's like, it's not very intelligent. I can actually flip through a book on any topic that I halfway know and determine within usually less than 20 seconds if the book is intelligent or any darn good or not, literally. There's a certain structure, especially the footnotes, that a good book represents. I mean, a high quality book, meaning nonfiction. So anyway, I wanted to give that as a disclaimer to making this video, but I know you weren't taught this, neither was I, the difference between assets and money. And I'm not trying to get rich in life at all. My goal is, I could probably drop dead at the age of 55. That's not my retirement plan, but I mean, tomorrow is never promised. There's another old saying, and it's a really good one, and that is that life is what happens while we're making plans. So anything could come up. Any one of us could get cancer. I mean, my wife got horrible brain tumor cancer. She's gone, and her plans for the future were dashed. And all of us, suffer that. We have to make plans for our own future. And I was not taught, and I'm sure you weren't taught either, the difference between assets and money. Everybody loves to say, and I read every comment, the saying fiat currency. There's a lot of truth to that. I don't know what the exact number is. I'm pretty close. But in the past 48 months or something like that, it's like 90% of the money or currency in circulation right now was printed in just like the last two years or something like that. So like 90 or 95% of the currency, we're writing checks our butt can't pay. You've ever heard of that old saying? I do know the difference between assets and money. And I've had to do a lot of hard thinking. I know a few millionaires actually. And just because they have a lot of money doesn't mean that they're intelligent. One of them has an enormous amount of rental property, and that's all well and fine. Although that's their biggest headache in life. But things that we don't think about regarding assets and money, and this is really, really, really important, and we're not taught this stuff in high school or college at all. We're just not. I mean, I know people, I asked them this and went to majors in business, and they weren't taught this either. They're taught a lot of stuff, but they're not taught the difference between assets and money. Assets generally, and I'm going to try to keep this video short and sweet, even though it had a long intro, is something that actually pays the owner back, and in best case scenario keeps paying the owner back interest rates, even on bonds and treasury notes, I mean, the interest that it pays back is nothing like what it would be for general assets. And of course, rental property is an asset. However, everybody I know that has rent, people are like, why don't you rent out your Florida home? I'm like, are you kidding me? The people that I know, and I know a couple of them that have a lot of rental property, that's their biggest misery in life. You cannot pay, the people you think that are awesome, they just trash the house, even if you think they're really, well, these people are really upstanding. They're not going to do anything. And they do. They wreck the house, they ditch out, and during this whole, nonsense that's been going on over the past 2 years, and I do emphasize the word nonsense, people didn't actually have to pay their rent. It's like, I don't know, I'm not working, and, the government did this naughty, naughty, naughty thing. And it is. It's extremely naughty, and it's technically illegal, where people were living rent-free for like 2 years plus. And so these people that had this rental property were just so up the creek. There's a million reasons why not, and that should be an asset. Everybody keeps saying, why don't you rent out your... Like, I would never do that because I know a lot of people with rental property. But the things that keep paying back, I mean, there's a huge difference between working hard. People say, hard work's good for you. It's good for the body and soul, hard work is, said the fat guy. But there's nothing better than working smart. And someone doesn't have to be that intelligent or wise to work smart. And none of us are taught the difference between, assets and money. It's like, I've got X number of money. It's like, what if we're hit with a recession? Right now, I mean, everything is just astronomically high. Even used cars are up 40%. Food is really high. It's also too said that everybody right now is going to be paying, every average family is going to be paying over $300 more per week. $1,200 per month, the average family, due to current inflation, and we're on the brink of a recession. People talk about gold and Bitcoin. I mean, I laugh at cryptocurrency. I mean, these are digital flatulence. It is digital flatulence. You need electricity for it to work. You need internet for it to work. You need a network for it to work. And you need people that actually put value on that. If a recession hits, I'm sorry, you have to feed your family and pay the bills. So, well, sure, you could pay bills. There's ways you could cash out on Bitcoin. Yeah, there is, but I mean, this is digital flatulence. I don't even pretend to be a Bitcoin expert. I do not, but I know what it is. I don't have to be a doctor to, see someone's, severed leg and go, oh God, that guy needs surgery and immediate medical attention. You don't have to be a doctor to recognize the blatant, bloody obvious. There are ephemeral assets and literal assets. Here's a couple examples. And I've put my money where my mouth is. I've put all my money, what little I have, and I do mean little, into land. I have a cabin. I have a cave. I have spring water in my cave. I have tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of lumber. I mean, the last several lifetimes worth of lumber. Some of the acreage I paid $238 per acre. 238, yep. $238 an acre. I actually said that in a live stream, and I screenshotted a picture of what I paid. I said, you don't believe it? Oh, it's not possible. $238. And not only that, it's got old growth trees on it. It's never been harvested for lumber. $238 an acre. It's like, how do you find that? It's like you keep your eyes peeled, and you keep your head on a swivel. People generally don't do that. This is the reason why people suffer so much, and this is a big secret that shouldn't be a secret at all, is the reason that, and some of these really rich people that I know, they are really, really, really unintelligent. But the reason why they keep making money and striking when they have their head on a swivel is that they are able to have their head on a swivel and recognize deals and assets to make money. If people, work themselves to death and they come home and a typical person, like hugs the wife and kids, grabs a beer, plops in bed, wakes up, works their butt off. This person never has the time to be standing on their hind legs like the meerkat, that cat that looks around for dangers, have their eyes peeled for opportunities. They just don't. They just work themselves to the grave. It's like, you work really hard. It's like, yeah, but you never have a vacation. You're never able to, recognize assets. People say, how do you find this stuff? I see you have to have time, you have to know where to look. You only have to have that much intelligence. There's literal assets and ephemeral assets. Here's a couple examples, like literal assets, tools, and land. I have a whole lot of DeWalt tools, and I actually know how to use them. I've got, I think, like 22 DeWalt tools. I don't pretend to be a carpenter. My favorite tool, by the way, is a framing nailer. Oh my gosh, I got 2 of them. It's a battery-powered framing nailer, too. It means that, oh my gosh, I love my framing nailers so much. But, you know, is it hard labor? Yes, it is. But, I mean, it's an asset. I mean, people that actually work with those tools, and it doesn't have to be carpentry tools or woodworking tools. It should be something that you have the skills and know how to work with it so that it can make you money. Skills, here's are 2 ephemeral assets. Okay, with literal assets like tools and land. The land pays back, too. You could rent it out for hunting. You could rent it out for farming. You could sell the lumber off of an X number of, and I did that recently, last year, off the back end of my farm. I just sold off like 5 acres of the largest trees. You know, that paid off. And when you look at it, you know, they left, you know, the trees that are about this size and smaller. You really can't tell. You know, other than noticing the tree stumps, you can't tell that it's been harvested for trees. My rich buddy figured that out a couple decades ago. He was hem-hawing around about buying this whole mountaintop. And he wasn't smart enough. He keeps kicking himself in the butt about it 20 years later. That he's like, I don't know if I want it, you know, it's steep land. The guy that bought it was smarter than him. He bought it, I think it was like $25,000. I think it was like 30 acres or something, but it was really hilly, you know, it was steep land, but it was a nice mountaintop. It was like the highest peak in the area, so, you know, very advantageous for certain things. The guy sold just the largest trees only off of it, got 100% of his money back. But since they selective, people would think when you're collecting timber, you just clear cut the whole area, like, meow, mow it. No, they just take the largest trees. They leave, you know, trees like this and smaller intact, you know, they don't touch them. After they did it, you really can't tell that it was done. He got 100% of his money back, so the land is free. These are a list of skills that we're not taught in high school or college. So ephemeral assets. Another one is wisdom. Wisdom, of course, and skills. There are other ephemeral assets. Land over cash. I've sunk every free penny that I have into land. Would it be affected by a serious recession? Yes. I mean, nothing is guaranteed in life but death and taxes. But I made the right choice. People keep talking about gold and silver. Now is like the worst time imaginable to buy gold and silver. It's really, really high. I mean, I just laugh at anybody saying they're buying gold or silver right now. It's ridiculous. You know what you should have bought, and I should have bought, is rhodium. Back, it was $600 an ounce, and then it shot up to over $20,000 an ounce. That was sometime last year. It shot over 20,000. 600 to 20,000. You should buy gold, you should buy rhodium, and so should I. I have been watching precious metals. Earlier in life, I actually invested in precious metals. The one time that I actually made good money was buying desert scrub land in Utah. I bought 6 pieces of it. I even had my dad buy a few after he saw how much money I made off of them. I mean, I made a year's worth of money in a matter of 3 or 4 weeks. I was like, this is awesome. Food and water. It's like, how do you invest in food? You really can't, but I can give you one example. Mountain House meals, they're good for 30 years. Okay, they're going to last longer than I'm alive. After I bought an enormous amount of Mountain House meals, which itself is in a dire situation, is itself its own money. They're really tasty. They're not like MREs at all. They actually taste good. Look up Mountain House meals. The price shot up 20% like sometime in the last quarter of last year. People need to be diversified, asset diversification. Everything is about diversification. People put all their eggs in one basket, and that goes belly up, and then they're just like up the creek without a paddle. Tools for making money. You know you can't see these, but I've made videos of them. These enormous solid steel, there's no plastic on them. Sewing machines, those things are like printing presses for money. Now, do I have to have the skills to know how to use it right? you know, and it takes time. You know, you're sitting there sweating over the sewing machine, sewing up leather, but they're money makers. You know how many people know how to make leather goods like belts and wallets? And it's like nobody. I can make all my own clothing. I made a video. Actually, I didn't make a video. I posted pictures of it on Instagram. Making my own sandals out of leather, sewing them together. They're really, really awesome. Everybody, I've got one guy that wants me to make them. I don't want to say what it is. It's a very custom leather item. He wants me to prototype it and cover it in Alligator. Nobody does that anymore. You know, that's an asset. It's like, I can make some really nice looking leather goods. That's an asset. And these sewing machines, literally, they're well known for this fact. The used ones sell for like 98% of what a new one does. So I could like wear the hell out of these sewing machines. They're basically indestructible, except for the needles, but needles are like, you know, cheap thrills. You know, wear the hell out of them for years and years and sell them for as much as I paid for them, essentially so, which is ridiculous. But they are that kind of class. That is an asset. They make money. With my skills and knowing how to use them is making money. I mean, I already sold 3 wallets and 2 belts before I got back to Kentucky late last night. So there's another difference between assets and money. I wished I was taught this, but I always knew my teachers were fools. Always knew that they were fools. You know, I just didn't listen to them because these people are fools. You know, these are the people that don't know how to do anything. That's why they're teachers. Essentially accurate. But learn this, you know, as something to help you in your life. And I don't pretend to be any money guru. I don't pretend to be, you know, anything special like that at all. I don't really have that much money to my name at all. But I have invested it wisely. You know, if the poop hits the fan, as the old saying goes, I can go retreat to my cabin. I can take care of my own land. I can grow my own veggies. You know, I can live off the land. I got a limitless, pure water source of spring water inside my cave, and it flows, you know, full power 365 days a year. So you got water taken care of. Essentially a limitless supply of water. And it's in a very pristine area. There's not like anything toxic of any kind for many, 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 many miles. I wish someone had taught me about assets versus money. People talk about work hard, make money. It's like, how about working smarter instead of harder? And then actually building skills, because you can't see that. You know, it's between my 2 ears. It's skills. It's know how to do things, know how to make things. Make yourself valuable. People are so worried about hoarding money. I got so much money in my bank. I got 30 bars of gold in my... But do you know how to do anything? Do you have wisdom? Do you have skills? No, I haven't got any skills. So, like, if the poop hit the fan, not that I'm hoping for that or wishing for that, it's like you got worthless gold in your safe, and you have no skills at all. You have no survival skills. You don't know how to make anything. You don't know how to do anything. Yeah, but so your gold is worthless. So people are starving. They don't care about gold. And they sure as heck don't care about digital flatulence, i.e. cryptocurrency. Such an important thing, and nobody talks about it, really. And they certainly didn't take it in college or high school or junior high. Assets versus money. Money, 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 money. When you work really hard, make a lot of money. It's just so dumb. Tell me what you think. I do read every comment. And there's nothing I said in this video that can be denied. Let's just admit it. It can't be denied. Come on, I dare you. Lux Evertas. Bye.